From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening, the Senate unanimously passed a resolution today urging Air Force officials to assign the F-35s to Eielson Air Force Base. Senate Joint Resolution 14 encourages the placement of new F-35 aircraft to reverse a wave of reductions that started in 2005.
That's right. This comes after the Air Force proposed removing the base's last remaining active duty aircraft, the F-16s, at Eielson due to budget cuts. Officials have noted the strong strategic importance and the advantage Eielson has over other bases in the Pacific in hosting the new generation fighter. Supporters noted the community support of the military in Interior Alaska, as well as its commitment to the nation's security.
The training space in Alaska, the fact that we have the F-22s in Anchorage shows that if we had both F-35s and F-22s, that we have an arsenal that is formidable in those new generation of fighters for really the Pacific area, which is probably going to be one of the places that has to be watched real closely, probably in the foreseeable future.
The president of BP Alaska says the company plans to boost its capital spending in the state from just under $900 million last year to $1.2 billion this year. Janet Weiss says Alaska is more competitive under its new oil tax structure. She says the company plans to reinvest 90 cents of every dollar it makes in Alaska back into Alaska. She says production follows investment. Weiss says some projects that figure into BP's capital spending program were started under the old tax structure, and a more aggressive timeline for others was implemented since the new tax was passed.
Meanwhile, major oil companies, including BP, are spending heavily to retain tax cuts approved last year by the Alaska legislature. BP and ExxonMobil each have invested more than $1.3 million to defeat a voter referendum aimed at repealing tax cuts. The numbers were revealed in new campaign disclosure reports filed by the Vote No on One campaign. The group has raised $3.5 million as of February 5th.
The number of state-funded abortions has fallen in recent years. Figures provided by the state health department show the number of abortions for which state Medicaid funds were paid fell from a recent high of about 830 in fiscal year 2010 to about 510 in fiscal year 2013. Since then, the state has moved to enact new regulations defining what constitutes a medically necessary abortion for purposes of Medicaid payments. A judge temporarily blocked enforcement of those rules, which Planned Parenthood of the Great Northwest sued over. Though numbers have continued to drop, the department says costs between 2012 and 2013 rose from about $191,000 to nearly $194,000. According to figures, no abortions were indicated as being for cases of rape, incest, or risk of death to the woman.
4 tourists were rescued after becoming stuck on a mining road outside of Fairbanks. The female visitors from Taiwan were able to reach troopers by cell phone from the one-lane road. After waiting 90 minutes in their rental car, troopers reached the women. The 4 claimed they were attempting to reach the Aurora Borealis Lodge in order to see the northern lights. They reportedly stopped at the Chattanooga Lodge for directions and made a wrong turn that left them stranded.
A Glen Ellen high school student was caught attempting to video female classmates in a locker room. According to troopers, the male student placed an iPod in the locker room and activated its video settings. He then aimed the video recording at the changing area. Before any indecent video was recorded, a female student noticed the iPod and alerted teachers. Now, the juvenile male was interviewed by school officials and troopers alike and received, quote, discipline. The case has been sent to juvenile probation.
The State Senate Education Committee today heard additional testimony on Governor Sean Parnell's omnibus education bill. Besides doing away with the exit exam, the wide-ranging bill would improve access for charter schools and increase the student funding formula known as the base student allocation. Brandy Bokach, a senior at Dillingham High School, told lawmakers that the exam is so ridiculously easy, it's not relevant. Also providing testimony were state education officials, school superintendents, as well as other students. The state education commissioner said the exit exam is outdated.
We referenced heavily what was taking place around the country, and that was the Common Core that a lot of states have adopted. Our standards are similar. We, through a lot of stakeholder input, we modified those where we thought it was important to do so. But our standards are now more rigorous. We have raised the bar for our students. We've recognized the amount of students that need remediation when they leave. So we've kind of shifted a focus from just graduation to preparation.
All right, when we come back, a woman suffers cardiac arrest at a local bar.
Also, the Iditarod is 18 days away, and mushers accomplished one of their most important last-minute duties today. We have more on that. Stay with us. And welcome back to the Fbx Evening News. Fairbanks police say an unidentified woman died from sudden cardiac arrest in the Arctic Bar last week. According to Sergeant Bruce Barnett, police along with Fairbanks Fire Department responded to the bar just before midnight after a call came in reporting a woman was passed out in the bathroom. Upon arrival, EMS officials reported the 35-year-old woman had suffered from cardiac arrest. Assistant Fire Chief Ernie Meswitz says EMS was administered and CPR as well as defibrillation. She was then transported to the hospital where she was pronounced dead.
As community members work to rebuild mental health care in Fairbanks, some worry the only clubhouse for the mentally ill could close in May. Located in the Mental Health Services Building, the clubhouse is managed by volunteers along with a small grant. Gene Redden, a retired healthcare professional, has led the effort, and he says they can't stay in the building past May and they won't have any more funding. The clubhouse serves between 15 and 30 people each day and provides food and a place to socialize. Several officials in mental health say members of the public should pressure legislators to make mental health services a priority.
Call them and tell them that this is a really important thing that you want to see continue, and they can turn up the heat underneath the Department of Health and Human Services to figure out how to make this something that's affordable, for example, how to sustain it, how to make sure that it's part of the mission of whoever ends up taking over the mental health services in Fairbanks.
The Iditarod is 18 days away, and mushers accomplished one of their most important last-minute duties today. After months of planning, mushers and handlers dropped off food and supplies to race officials. Now, many bags weighed between 600 and 1,000 pounds, and they will be unloaded at checkpoints along the trail. Poor trail conditions have Iditarod officials scrambling to get everything in their final places, including the starting location. Musher John Dixon says the food drop means he's committed to the race and says starting in Fairbanks could be fun.
Well, it kind of means that we're going for sure now. I mean, you send out food drops, and there's a lot of money in those behind me and a lot of time and effort and work. So unless something catastrophic happens, I think we're going to make it to the starting line. Be kind of fun if it does start out of Fairbanks, as we live here, sleep in your own bed before you get on the trail the night before. So.
It is time once again for another in our series on the agencies within the United Way of the Tanana Valley. Tonight, News Center 11's Mike Schultz spotlights the Resource Center for Parents and Children.
The Resource Center for Parents and Children, or RCPC, has been in the Fairbanks community since 1973. The mission of RCPC is the prevention of child abuse and neglect through education, prevention, and support services. Scooter Welch is the executive director for RCPC, and he says his agency would have very little impact without assistance from the United Way of the Tanana Valley.
Well, the agency, in order to provide the services that we have, we depend upon this community and their support. And one of the easiest ways is for United Way to make those donations through United Way that come back to agencies like RCPC, and it's a very important part. It supports programs, it supports services, and helps us with staff. And we couldn't do the job we do without that.
I asked Scooter what made him most proud of the accomplishments of RCPC.
Every day I try to remind staff that we're in a position to make a difference in people's lives in so many different ways. And to see the kind of work that we do, which is sometimes very difficult work, to be able to bring some service to a family that makes a big difference, to bring a smile about on a child's face, that's the thing that keeps us here every day.
During his time with RCPC, what does Scooter feel is his most rewarding and fulfilling moment?
I think, again, seeing what the staff, they are here because they want to provide a service. They could go out and do other work. And when I see the smiling faces that leave the agency and know the kind of work that they do, that's what keeps us all coming back here. Well, again, we just want to thank the community for so many years of support, all the different organizations and companies, and individuals, and also United Way for what they do for this entire Tanana Valley.
The United Way fundraising campaign is still running until the end of March, so there's still time for you to donate to your favorite agency. Mike Schultz, News Center 11.
So, who's been watching the Olympics?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I watched a
every
little
day.
bit of that. Yeah,
it's
most
fun
definitely.
stuff. Yeah. I like that skeleton.
Skating.
Well, a lot of fun stuff going on around here.
Yeah, we
in
got
the
our own winter
interior.
sport.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going
We're just
on.
bombarding you with the Olympics.
Yeah, you know, the Yukon Quest is
Yeah.
just about over, and the winner looks pretty familiar. So we'll see who that is. And also, another interior athlete signing a national letter of intent. We'll see where Brooke Lazat will be going to college.
Wow,
Okay.
excited to see.
All that and more next. Welcome back, Interior Alaska. It's time for your Sports Weekend recap. It may have been bittersweet, but one musher from Two Rivers will enjoy his second Yukon Quest victory all the same. Alan Moore repeats as Yukon Quest champion after arriving in Whitehorse early this morning about 2:12 Alaska time. This video coming from the YouTube channel of the Yukon Quest. Moore finished in 8 days, 14 hours, and 21 minutes, which broke the old Quest record that he made last year of 8 days, 19 hours, and 39 minutes. This was a bit anticlimactic because he and Brent Sass were neck and neck in the last two checkpoints of the race, but Sass suffered a head injury after falling off of his sled. He is in stable condition and he is conscious, but he had to withdraw from the race, leaving the finish all to Moore. Moore will receive $22,700 and the 4 ounces of gold since Sass did not finish. Hugh Neff was second for the second year in a row as well. Moore talks about winning twice in 4 years.
What does the second quest mean? I guess we're doing a few things right anyway. But mainly we have some good dogs right now, and they're hard to come by, just like any basketball or football team. Once you get that, you know, you have a pretty good team for a few years, and it's really hard to bring in more that is that caliber after that. So right now we have it, and hopefully it'll continue.
Will we see you for another quest?
Well, I would say it's a probable.
And after winning the small bore discipline on Saturday at the Patriot Rifle Conference Championships, the Nanoks followed that up by winning air rifle on Sunday, which resulted in the Nanoks winning the first ever Patriot Rifle Conference Championship on Sunday with a 4.702 total score, matching a program record. They shot 2.363 in air and 2.339 in small bore. Ryan Anderson, he led the way with the match best 5.96 in air. He also won the silver in the individual final to add to his PRC small bore gold. Tim Cherry shot a 5.91 for a match best fourth. Cherry would get silver in the individual final, and Air Force finished second, followed by TCU and host Ohio State. Meredith Carpenter was the air rifle champion on Sunday as well. And now we go on to the Nanook ski teams. They have some momentum going into the NCAA region races this weekend. The men's team finished second in the CCSA championships, led by Logan Hahnemann, the junior. He won both the 10K and 20K mass start races. He won the 10K in 20 minutes, 17.8 seconds on Saturday. And then on Sunday, he won the 20K in 40 minutes, 23.4 seconds. Big day for him. The women finished fourth and they were paced by junior Allison McFeeters and senior Heather Edick. McFeeters finished ninth in the 15K, while Edick placed 15th. Top skier freshman Nicole Baith was in Italy competing in the World Junior Championships, but the Nooks still got fourth place. And today, another interior athlete signed a national letter of intent. Lathrop's Brooke Lazat, the cross-country runner, signed her NLI. She'll be attending Southwestern Oklahoma State University in Weatherford, Oklahoma. Lazat will be running for the Bulldogs, a Division II program that had 2 top 5 finishes in meets last season and finished 7th in the Great American Conference. Lazat placed 10th in the 4A state cross-country meet last year and was a runner-up in the Region 6 race. She is also the leading scorer for the Lathrop basketball team this season. One reason she chose to be a Bulldog is because it's hot in Oklahoma.
I like running in the heat. I hate the cold. I'm ready to leave. But yeah, I think I'll adjust to it just fine, and it'll definitely be different, but I think it'll be good. They have a nationally ranked pharmacy school, And the way they do is a 2+4 program, so I'd do 2 years undergrad, and then I'd go straight into farm school for 4 years. So I'd come out with a doctorate of pharmacy in 6 years.
And Saturday night, we had to relive this moment. Game 3 of the Wenatchee Wild and Ice Dogs series, with Fairbanks taking the first 2 games of the series. Saturday's matchup was a dogfight. The Wild would take an early lead as Brendan Harris beats Kevin Aldridge's glove side, but the Ice Dogs would answer in the second period as Ethan Somoza, he stays hot. He buries a feed from Hans Gaworski. Somoza has 5 goals in the last 6 games. He pretty much likes playing against the Wild. Both goalies had 22 saves. The third went scoreless as well, so we went to overtime. That one scoreless. We go to the shootout. Trading makes. They will go into the 10th round of the shootout before Nick Hens, he gets the deciding score, just clutch. And the Ice Dogs sweep the Wild in 3. With the win, the Ice Dogs are 35-13. That's the best in the NAHL. They lead the Midwest by 12 points and have won 4 straight games. Now we wrap things up with the new I-5, the interior top 5 plays. Some nice passing to start the I-5. At number 5, Emmanuel Pacheco of Hutchinson. One of his 9 assists, a nifty behind-the-back pass to Morgan John for the lay-in. Hutch wins 72-59 over Effie Cochran on Wednesday. At number 4, UAF's Joe Slocum goes behind the back as well, feeding Stefan Tita in transition for the N1. Tita finished with a season-high 21 points in UAF's 88-74 win over MSUB on Thursday. At number 3, Lathrop gets revenge and redemption with Colton Myers' heads-up goal that proved to be the game winner. Lathrop's 2-0 shutout win over North Pole in the MAC tournament, punching their ticket to state. At number 2, veteran defenseman Nick Hens with the game-winning shootout goal in the 10th round on Saturday night for a 3-game sweep of the Wenatchee Wild. The win vaults Fairbanks as the top team in the NAHL. At number 1, Sam King was in the home stretch of the Region 6 boys title race on Friday and out-sprinted West Valley's Benjamin Koenig to win the 10K and the Region 6 title by 1.1 seconds. To pick the play of the week, comment on the KTVF Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter I-5 post. Email Joe Cook at KTVF11.com and tell us the play of the week. The top play will be revealed this Friday.
The I-5 Sports Report is brought to you by Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy.
And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. Stay warm. Alaska Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at the weather. Did you see the Northern Lights Friday night? Spectacular. In fact, Trevor Gridley, one of our good photographers that sends in many photographs to us, was able to capture them. Look at the colors of that. Just beautiful brilliance there. Purples and greens, and just a nice night. Again, thanks to Trevor. And if you have a photograph you want to share, by all means, send it to photos at KTVF11.com. What do the numbers look like? Right now at the airport, 17 degrees below zero. And our high today actually was only 9 degrees below zero. The overnight low 35 below. Sunrise and sunset about 8 hours and 6 minutes of daylight, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Air quality problem once again. Fairbanks unhealthy for sensitive group, and North Pole is just flat out unhealthy. So it's not good to be outside right now if you have any respiratory problems. Here's our next cold area coming down from the north. A pretty good frontal system. Dropping down, bringing a reinforcement of the colder air, maybe some light snow with that too, but it will continue to be quite chilly, at least toward the end of the week. As far as what's going on across the rest of the state, well, we have lots of wind blowing around the Juneau area and snow falling at Ketchikan. In fact, heavy snow expected there. Snow also at Kodiak Island and Cold Bay, while to the north things are looking pretty good. A little snow around the Barrow area. Lower 48 weather tonight, a little bit of rain falling across the Pacific Northwest, not extending down into California where they really need it. But a real bad mix of rain and snow and ice all over the deep south, all because of a storm system that's being brought in once again from the jet stream, traveling way down to the north and then ripping back up to the east. As you can see, a lot of cold temperatures and cold precipitation indicated by the pink. And the overall snowfall expected through Thursday with this storm system is going to be close to a foot of snow in some parts of the Virginias, right up into near Washington, D.C. and New York City. So a lot of weather expected over the next couple of days across the lower 48. But as far as we're concerned, the northern section, snow showers for Barrow, flurries expected at Nome and Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at morning fog in the Fairbanks area, then becoming mostly sunny for Delta Junction and Healy and Fairbanks. And over southeast Alaska, that's where the wild weather is going to be. Lots of winds. Juneau, with the winter weather advisory in effect for Ketchikan, with 2 to 4 inches of snow expected there. Over southwest, mostly cloudy with snow showers for Cold Bay, partly cloudy at Kodiak and Bethel. And over the south central regions, looking at the mostly sunny skies for Anchorage and partly cloudy skies in Valdez and Homer. Okay, it's time once again for our kids' weather and another school this week. This week we're visiting with the kids from North Pole Elementary. And tonight, here's a young man with an interesting story for you.
Forecast for you in Alaska, they can expect 2 to 6 feet of marshmallows. Hope you have a funnel in Hawaii because you can expect tropical orange juice. Hope you have chocolate syrup in Denver. It's -5 at night, which means ice cream. Say ah in McMurray because the snow forecast is jelly beans. And Cobble can relax because morning, all the marshmallows from Alaska is there. And Fairbanks, hope you have a ladder because the clouds are going to be peeps.
That's what I call a unique forecast. And speaking of forecasts, here's our forecast for the remainder of the night. 35 below at the airport, much colder in low-lying areas. Ice fog developing, but possibly before that happens, more auroras, so keep an eye out for that. Tomorrow's forecast calling for 10 below for the high. Morning ice fog becoming mostly sunny skies, but the good news is after we get past the cold temperatures for tonight and tomorrow, things start to slowly warm up, if you can call 23 below warming up. But it is going to be warming up to the weekend, looking at 10 degrees below zero for the overnight lows, and no real precipitation expected, except maybe possibly some light snow shower activity on Wednesday. But all in all, things are getting better, Joe, so don't be quite so despondent. It's going to slowly warm up for you.
Okay, we have run out of time. We hope you can join us for our 11 o'clock broadcast from all of us here at the News Center. I'll learn how to speak sometime. Have a good night.
Have a good night.